everybody. Welcome to Chit and Chat with Coach Rose AJ and Coach L Kelly. That's me. We're here to chat with you today because we're going to learn the top 5 things that Coach Rose AJ did to lose weight and be successful at losing 64 pounds. That's how much she lost, which is amazing. So we want to know all of the details. How are you today, Coach Rose AJ?
Oh, I think I'm doing pretty good, to be quite honest. I'm bundled up, layered up, and prayed up, girl. And it's cold here in the Pacific Northwest. But I want to just elaborate on the fact that we are Chit and Chat Warriors for health, right? That means you and I are warrioring with everyone that's out there
That's right.
trying to gain better health, right? So life
That's
is
right.
good my way. What's
That's
been
right.
going on your way?
Nothing. I'm excited to you. Well, first of all, you're right. It's cold. Okay. It's very cold. I just still have a fan on me though, so I don't care how cold it is sometimes. Hey,
Okay.
don't judge. Don't judge.
Hot. Oh,
Sometimes it's like that.
okay.
But anyway, I'm
Okay.
excited to talk to you today because one of the things we talked about in our last segment, the way that we ended, was that you were going to share some tips and things with us, or maybe, I don't know if we want to call it tips, but we want to know 5 things that you did that
Okay.
led to your success in losing 64 pounds. We talked about the journey you went through from a health and wellness perspective and, the kind of mental overhaul that you did, some traumas that you overcame, just all
Mhm.
this work that you did to get to the place that you are now to have this kind of transformation. But we are curious to know about some of the actual things that you did to make that weight loss take form and shape. So do share. That's
Okay,
what we'd like to
so
talk about today.
okay, well, in this bite-sized episode and rendition, bite-sized meaning we're going to do 15 minutes or less,
That
right?
works.
So I think this is something new that we're going to be trying for a while, especially with the holidays. But me and Coach L. Kelly, we talk for like hours, it seems, on end. So we're just gonna give it to y'all straight, no chaser today. So the first thing that I did was make the decision. But when I made the decision to move forward and just try anything, I still stayed stuck and overwhelmed with overeducation, and I was just stuck, right? It
Mhm.
took me 6 months to get started.
Mhm.
So once I got started,
Yeah.
it was haphazard, but I kept going. So that's the first thing. Just making a decision to start anywhere that you are with
Hmm.
whatever you can, and just keep going no matter what. So that's number one. Should I share a second one?
Well, keep going. I'm just taking some notes because I'm going to circle back. So keep going. Yes,
Okay,
that's so don't give up.
okay,
That's pretty
okay,
much the message
right,
because I think
right.
that's good for people to hear because it's kind of like, oh, I tried and I don't want to try again. So you're just saying just keep going, don't give up. I think that's important.
First one is get started and don't give up. Yes.
Yep.
Okay. And the second thing is to design your own roadmap, your own blueprint. We hear so many things from voices around us, our past experiences with dieting or, whatever we try, the exercise and whatnot. The thing is that whether we realize it or not, we've been learning along the way. There's been something with every dietary protocol that we've tried that resonated with us, even if it was a fragment of something that resonated with us.
Right.
But now it's like use what you know and apply it to yourself in ways that seem doable to you,
Hmm.
right? And if you cut out something, you need to replace it with something because we don't want anybody feeling deprived, right? So
Right.
that's what I did. So although I followed the ketogenic protocol and then I rolled into carnivore for more healing for myself, I realized that there were certain foods that were really my enemies, and I cut them out
Right.
because I should be in a positive relationship with myself and food.
Hmm.
I shouldn't be at war till the day that I leave this earth. So it's just creating your blueprint. Whatever your blueprint looks like, just begin creating it. So that's number two. I
That's really
started,
important.
yeah,
That's really
yeah,
important because I mean, from your point, you did the ketogenic diet, but what you're saying is someone else doesn't have to do that. Someone else
no.
may want maybe a higher carb or maybe just a low carb,
Mhm.
moderate protein type of diet, whatever works for them, basically.
Yes, yes. And also, they have to consider their finances, their family's needs. And I did intermittent fasting simultaneously. That's what I
Hmm.
did. That was my blueprint. But along with that blueprint or that roadmap, it got more and more refined, right?
Right.
So, acknowledging that what you eat today is not necessarily what you may want to eat 21 days from now, because it takes about 14 to 21 days for your taste buds to turn over. So
Right.
just giving yourself time to get acclimated to the foods that you're trying to introduce to yourself. Just be
Mm-hmm.
reasonable, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Awesome.
the third thing is just always believe that anything and everything is possible. If it's possible for one person to lose weight, it's possible for you to lose weight. If it's possible for somebody to make $1 million, it's possible for you to make $1 million, right?
Right.
So you have to have this relentless faith in yourself, even if it's only a fragment of a flame of a whisper.
Mm-hmm.
Keep believing in yourself. Just like don't ever give up. Keep believing in yourself, right? And it
That's
gets
awesome.
better. So I had to believe in myself either by hook or crooked, because I knew what was on the other side. If I stopped believing in myself and advocating for myself, I'd be back to
Mm-hmm.
square one. And I
Mm-hmm.
knew what that life was like the first 49 years, 50 years of my life. And I didn't want to go back to that.
Right.
Right. And then
Absolutely.
number 4 is to find community of any capacity. And the reason I say community, for me, a lot of it was through my education. I took additional certification courses and met a lot of people online.
Mm-hmm.
And the community can show up in different ways. It could be, your neighborhood friends, or, your sisters, or your mama, your pastor, or it could be a therapist. But you need to start somewhere, because we have
Mm-hmm.
these conversations in our heads and they're not always realistic, right? There's
Right.
a committee in our head going on at all times. And I call mine Thelma.
Did you say you call yours? I just thought you call
I was
yours
going to say
Thelma.
Thelma and Louise, but no, I'm Zelda and Honey. Zelda, she's the warrior. She's the badass who will fight anybody that comes her way. And then Honey is the sweet Christian. Like, oh, no, no, no. Let's just be realistic. Let's just try another way. We can
Right.
turn another treat. But between the three of us, right, there's a lot going on. 3 different personalities, 3 different conversations.
Right.
But I'm the human form that makes the decision, right?
Right.
So sometimes if we can get somebody that's a little bit more compassionate, a little bit more neutral, that can become a part of our community. Like I said, somebody that's either your pastor, your neighbor, your sister, your cousin, your mama, a therapist,
Right.
whoever it is. Seek help the best way that you can, or the way that
Mm-hmm.
you're willing to, right? So that's
Mm-hmm.
number 4. And number 5 is just become involved in helping others, because sometimes we get so caught up in what we're doing that that's all we see. We
Right.
only see our problems. We only see our desperation. We only see what's going on around us. But the second that you step out and start opening doors for people, literally like at the grocery store, opening doors for people, or walking an elderly lady to her car and saying, hey, can I help you with your groceries? Or going to a homeless shelter and, making baskets or whatever it is, the second you step out of your misery or your circle or whatever it is that you're going through, and you start seeing other people that are worse off than you,
Right.
it's like all of a sudden I can say to God, I have a story, right? I have a story.
Mm-hmm.
That's not my story. I'm not doing a comparison here, but that's not my story. And I thank God that that's not my story. So with my story, I'm going to do the best that I can to be
Right.
involved in community in some kind of way.
Right. That's awesome. I thank you. Thank you for sharing. I think that it's interesting that, the top 5 things that you highlighted, it's still all internal. It's not just all external, go do this thing, go do that thing. It's still
Yeah.
internal work. But it's interesting how life is that when you do that kind of internal work and you're seeing life through those kind of eyes, changing your mindset, it's interesting the kinds of things that you can transform, like your body, like you have. So I think that's awesome. Anything
There's
else that you, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say there is a 6th one, but it really depends on where you're at in life. I've always exercised since I was 20. I've always exercised. And that was something that I did overzealously. When I say overzealously, I mean overzealously.
Right.
So if you can put exercise in as something that you do because you love to play basketball, or you love to ride the bicycle, go on a trail with your family and you ride your
Mm-hmm.
bikes, or rollerblade, or whatever it is, if you do it for fun and recreation and it brings you joy and it brings you closer to other people, do it. But it's not necessary as a part of losing weight, but it's very good for your mental health and to release those endorphins. You
Mm-hmm.
feel good. You
Right.
feel as though you've accomplished something. You feel like a warrior, whatever it is. So if you could incorporate exercise or just gentle movement in some way, that would be great.
No, that's awesome. I think that especially for people who are, I know you wake up pretty early in the morning. I happen to know this, and you go to the gym every day,
Yes.
which is pretty amazing. But I think that's good advice because once we just get moving, that brings joy to your life, which is going to, in essence, lead to the weight loss that you're looking for because you enjoy what you're doing. So it's less fallout. It's less of a chance that you're going to fall out because I really didn't want to go to the gym five
Yeah.
days a week. That's just what I thought I should do, that type of thing. So I like that you highlight just have fun doing it, just
Mhm.
get moving. I think that's awesome. But I do know that you're in that gym like that too. So
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
pretty, so that's
But
pretty
it's a
inspiring.
But actually, Coach L. Kelly, it's a part of my therapy that I picked up for myself from my early 20s, right?
Right,
I was like, this is working when nothing else is working, right?
right.
So that was my antidepressant, and it still is to today. So I think I'm like 17 days in, 17 or 18 days in of being caffeine free because for the longest
Right.
time, 25 years, 30 years, I was using coffee as a part of my antidepressant, right? But then I
Mm,
was like, there comes a time when medications, people that are actually on prescribed medications no longer work, and you have to have 2 and 3 medications
right,
to make the first one work the way it should have been working, right?
right.
So I was like, is this coffee really even helping me with my mental wellness the way I assumed it always had, right?
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
there's times that you have to go back to the drawing board and see if it's really working. So if exercise works for you, great, but it may not always work for you.
Right. It
Yeah.
sounds like when you go through a journey like this, you definitely have to be open to change. Like, I thought this was going to work, but it didn't. Or, I want to change this. Maybe that was working, but I want to do something different. It sounds like you just need to be open to the process too.
Yes. Yes. An experiment because we're all a study of one. We're all
Right.
a study of one.
Right.
So there
Well,
you
thank
have
you.
it.
I love it. I love it. You're just always full of nuggets, all these nuggets of knowledge. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for sharing.